Well, we're back to the same issue that we had before with our exhaust tubes here, and that was fitting our G cannon there. We solved that with liners on the inside, and guess what? When we go ahead and take these outer parts and put them in, ta-doo, they go right in with no stoppage. So, some plastic strips, and woo, put those on the inside of this one. And what do you know? Well, it fit a second ago, perfect, but there you go. I just need a drop of glue, and that will sit in there just the way I need it to. I'm not going to have these be thrust vectoring like the normal Su-35. I'm just going to go ahead and do these straight, simply because the whole thrust vectoring thing, well, it just works better this way. And I've got this long tube here sitting on the back as well. So that's the deal. Plastic strip to the rescue. Note to self, this is where black styrene would come in really handy, because when you do put this in here, right, and you look down there, you can see just along there, there's that little touch of white. I mean, I could call it a liner, but really it needs to be black. And yeah, so black styrene would be good. Otherwise, we are going to do a little bit of painting before we put these all together. Yeah, look at that. Just to make this work well, I'm just kind of rolling, using the knife handle to do that. If you really want to watch, here you go. Throw down a bunch of glue. What I've done here is I've actually just slid in, kind of start high and then go a little lower. Actually, this piece, there'll be a spot in there, but that works. Come to the back so I'm not messing with the paint job. Kind of smooth that in. Add a little bit more just to make sure it stays. And bada boom, bada bing, ain't nothing but a thing. I had great intentions today. In fact, I even woke up at 8 o'clock this morning with the thought of I have pretty much the whole day to work on this stuff. But you know what? A little bit of Christmas shopping, some meal prepping, trips to Trader Joe's, food shopping, and all those good things. And then just, I think, burnout. I was up till 2 o'clock last night. And so I've only done one thing today, and I'm out of time. So here we go, a couple of MRP paints and painted. I didn't want to do the whole bottom because I like the light ghost gray, but that is the way it looks. Started with titanium and just kind of went from there. I suck at freehanding straight lines, and I didn't, halfway through I thought, well, if I take some just regular paper and cut little rectangular slits of it, I don't have to have masking tape touching wet new paint. But of course, that was part of the way through it. So let's just take a look and see how these came out. Hope everybody out there has got a good start to your holiday season. I dig it. That's, you know what, it's on the underside, and the chances of me looking at it all that often are low. We're going to call that mission success, and we are going to go pick up the little one for daycare and see what we can get done this thing tomorrow. It is December 4th. That gives me 7 days. We're out of town this weekend, so I got 4 days left to see if I can make this 1 month deadline. But then again, we did go to Mexico for a week, so it's a little flexible. Have a wonderful day. Well, shucks, since I got the metals out, even though I just cleaned the airbrush, I went ahead and just masked all this up. So we're going to make these leading edges of the intakes, just like the Tomcat, and I think the flanker has it too. So we're going to go ahead and make those metal, and we'll be right back. I think I'm going to go anodized aluminum. I like that color. There we go, 10 minutes of masking, 30 seconds of spraying, and let's see what we got. I wasn't going for the inside of it. I was just doing the outside lip. So that at least saved me a little bit of masking, and had I wanted to do the inside, that would have been the time to do it before we attach the intakes. And there we go. It looks great. I don't see any overspray. I don't see any bleed in. I got the leading edges of it. Man, I think that's total success. Woohoo! All right, that's it for the day. What also is becoming obvious, if I haven't mentioned it just now or before, this workbench, white t-shirts are just not the best thing to work on the airplane anymore. So if Santa's listening, hey Santa, I need a good aircraft holder to work on my airplane on the workbench. Good morning. It's bright and early out. No, it's not. It's not bright and early. It's freaking noon. And I just got the little one into daycare, handled the important momentary things. So we're going to get a little bit of model building in here. And this is where things get fun. I'm past the other days. Yesterday is kind of like mini burnout, and I'm kind of motivated to get some stuff done for just like 2-3 hours here. But what you can see here, I'm going to just say this. The flanker, this has got to be one of the most challenging, not because of the camouflage, but I think it's the most challenging model I've ever had to paint, because I'm always trying to figure out, what do you put together? What do you paint first? You know, what do you mask off? I mean, obviously, kind of like an F-16, this front end with, you know, with these intakes here, you can't put it all together and paint because you can't get the paint underneath it. So you got to kind of pre-paint and do that stuff. But what I'm going to do now is we're going to come back in here and give our light gray on these wing roots that I didn't do, and then I'll do flat gold gray back here. But also on these wings, right, they have this front leading edge area is white, but I didn't paint that way, so I'm kind of using reverse markings. When we look at our sheet here, number 33 right here, this piece that's here, you're supposed to paint white and use that to mask it, so I'm reversing it. On the next one, I will definitely paint it white first, and then I can still use that thing, so I'm going to get double use out of this one. But in the meantime, we do have to kind of come in here and block off the other areas. Does that actually have a panel in on the bottom? It doesn't, but that's okay, because that's what we're going to do. And we'll do the same at the top. So let's do that. Let's do some light gray. Let's do some light ghost gray up here. And then I think it's time to, oh, I really don't want to deal with this. I want to just use decals or something, or make a mask somehow. But I think I'm just going to have to, like I did on my last project, go ahead and manually mask these suckers up. I really, you know, stainless steel is fine over the black. It needed to be glossy, and I don't know why stainless steel looks so dark on these when the center ring is stainless steel. I guess it's about that's also been washed, but God, I kind of want to. They just look so. They don't look quite as dark in person as they do on the camera. But man, I just kind of really want to. Yeah, I'd really like to repaint those suckers. All right, well, let's see if that adds it to my day. All right, I just cannot stand the thought right now of painting all these little off black middle of the pedals things. So I've gone and gotten some Fightertown decals. I went and got the original 82 sheet, which was fit for Hasegawa, and the 87 sheet, which was fit for Tamiya. And they all have, they're different because they were fit to different kits, but we've got the back ends for both of those. What I like about the Hasegawa one is we didn't actually print true black. We printed a super, super dark gray. It was black 2 or 3 on Pantone. So I'm going to cut out one of each, put them on here, and see if there's a way I can make that work. Now we're waiting for the decal to release itself. And while I'm doing this, this is about the time that I say to myself, well, one, I wish someone had a set for model on details back end here like RESkit does. But this is kind of where I'm really thinking I should have just gone with the KA parts, because they actually came with masks for it. What I have found with these data sets compared to other decals, that we printed a cartograph, that these data ones take a lot longer to come off the backing paper. I don't know if that's a real thing or not, but that's what I've always noticed. It's good to me on the bottom. And let's do Hasegawa. Oh, that one's just not coming off at all. Huh. All right, well, why that one, we redip that. Let's see what happens here. You know what? That might just be good enough to make this work. And all right, and we got our Hasegawa related one. And those are pretty much straight. I don't think those are going to work. Huh, you know what? That might work too. I bring that back in, and you can see real tight down here at the bottom because this is mostly straight. It doesn't, there you go, it comes off the top. But these black ones for Tamiya, I think are going to be close enough. Okay, here we go. It actually works. The only problem is if we flip it to the inside, you can see, let's get a better look here. Right here on the inside, there is just a little bit of overhang. And I'm not sure if that is going to cause a problem or if we can kind of tamp that down and make it work. But if that works, man, that would just save me so much time from masking, and I like the way that looks. Fingers crossed. Let's see how it stays on. These decals are going really, really well. Look at this. They're still drying, but they'll need a little flat on them. But man, look at that. They work. They like, especially, you know, if you zoom out kind of to like naked eye range, maybe something more like that. They work really well. So, of course, what I just realized now that I'm down to like the last couple, I got 2 on this one left. Guess what I forgot to do? I forgot to paint the silver ring back here. Now, if I go sticking tape on this, those decals are not going to stick and they're not going to stay down, even if I put a flat coat. My experience with metals and resin is that will pull the decals right up. I'd really like to not do the decals again, although that really only took a few minutes to do all those. So the question is, overcoat it, spray silver mask and spray silver, or grab a brush and try and brush paint on some Tamiya lacquer silver and hope that that works. That's a good question. I wonder which one takes longer. Let's find out. We have come to that point where there is just no getting around it, no putting it off, and no, yeah, it has to be done. And that is clear coat time. So what we're looking at here, oh, wait, you know, before we do clear coat, there's one other thing we're going to do. And that is what I have all masked up here. There are just some slight little things that I just can't live with, like little dots like that from the wash. And then here we've got some overspray. So we're going to hit air superiority blue in a couple of areas that that need to get adjusted, and then we are going to go clear coat to include the whole body. And I'm not actually into the whole airplane, but I've got my, you know, basically things that are going to have decals on it or still need wash, especially that the dark blue's on. And then things over here like our tails, so that we can put on decals and knock this thing out. Today is, we are 2 days short of the 30-day, you know, I don't know, self-imposed deadline. And so we'll see what we can get done today. No kid today, no kid tonight, no kid tomorrow. But tomorrow night, I go back to full-time daddy, which means no more modeling for probably the rest of the month. So here we go. Let's see what we can get done. All right, here we go. Super tight in. I did put a tiny bit of Mr. Leveling Thinner in this one. That's it. That's all it needs. It's just these little tiny touches in these little areas. You do have to kind of ferret in a little bit. I don't want to cover up the the weathering that's already been done there. So just trying to make it really light. Fortunately, it's really cold down here in the garage, so I had to run the heater just to kind of try and bring up the temperature to make it worthwhile. But there we go. I love it. Just a little PSA. This is why you do not keep your paints in a garage where it gets 100 plus or 40, because I've already put like half a thing of Restore in this. This is Mr. Color. This is my favorite stuff that I still don't know how to use, but Dave Hansen's taught me way too many times. GX100 lacquer color. I was going to use Tamiya X22, but I don't want to use an acrylic. I want to use a lacquer, and I want it to dry really fast. Unfortunately, looks like everything in this bottle is dry. So let's just keep adding more and more Restore stuff and see what happens. I hope that you actually can use this on gloss. Otherwise, all my gloss is dead because I got like 6 bottles of this crap. All right, we're gonna keep trying. Okay, well, I put basically as much stuff in here as I could, and it's thick, but I went ahead. These suckers, I put 1 part Mr. Color GX100 and 2 parts Mr. Leveling Thinner, shook the snot out of it, and we've got some pretty thin, in fact, probably way too thin at this point. But instead of being a dumbass, which I normally would do, and just go ahead and come over here and throw it on model parts, I am going to test it on a paint mule here and see what happens. Science, I guess. All right, for those of you at home, I cranked the PSI up to 18. Let's see what happens. Not bad. All right, well, we've got the compressor and the fan going, but that actually doesn't look too bad. I'm gonna quick dry this sucker. Yeah, you know what? I think this might work. Woohoo! Oh, if that's the case, I got, what, 5-6 bottles of this stuff saved. And never again am I leaving anything in the garage. Without the stand down here, I'm just kind of hand doing this. You can see there's glossier parts and less glossier parts. What I'm gonna do now is just take Mr. Leveling Thinner and do a light misting coat. It looks pretty good. Let's see. Look at that. There's a dip in there. I don't understand. I've had this happen with Tamiya Tomcats too, but you can see this little divot in there is not there in the plastic. It's just when I start painting, especially with lacquer thinners, I get this thing. See if we can get a little bit of a look in and around. So it's all kind of coated. So I'm gonna miscoat this sucker because you can see here kind of like a little bit of silvering. It's orange peel, I guess. So let's miscoat it, see what happens. Our gloss coat is complete, and I gotta say, I really like it. And where the paint was glossy, it looks really good. And where the paint was not so glossy, it still looks pretty good. Yeah, I don't know. I may never be able to figure out how to really do gloss coat well. I've done it a few times, but it's always, I don't know, spray and pray, hold your breath and hope for the best type of thing. But it looks good enough. I also have some 8000 grit, sanding cloths here, and I know I'm going to put a decal up here. So just the lightest amount. I mean, it basically, you can see right there, it'll start eating through the gloss coat. So I don't want to do too much. I just want it really smooth. I also am going to come back here and try and do a little bit more of weathering on the dark blue areas, because that doesn't have any panel line wash in it at all. But like areas like back here, man, I love the way it looks. So what I have in front of me now, while we're going to do some of those washes, I have a whole bunch of fun decal sheets. Let's see. a bunch of data stuff from the Tomcat. And we'll have to figure out what all we're going to use for it. But more importantly, I dug out what was left of some Fightertown Decals Best of the Best sheets. This is actually the original one, 48077. It's almost complete. There's some parts. Now, you know what? Right there. I need that gray. Oh, as planned, I needed that gray lightning bolt. So, you know what? We'll have to pull out. I think I have one more around. I also, digging in the depths of the decal collection, found this. This is a 4811 Adversary Bad Cats. At the time, this was probably the greatest sheet we ever did. It did have to have, for the Iranian stuff, they misprinted the brown and the sand and kind of made them the same. And you can see on this sheet, the reason I still have this is because everything was all out of register here. You can see all the Top Gun badges are badly out of register. But you know, the blues, just for fun, I don't know if we kind of compare the blues here a little bit. Blue and blue, they're really close. I mean, they're both painted FS colors. I think I always like the microscale rendition better, but I think the cartograph is just a touch darker. So without further ado, I got a little bit of hot water. I'll put on the Top Gun Maverick soundtrack, which has become the soundtrack of this build, and we're going to keep on. We're going to do some decals. I also found this is old microscale printed data. This is for the Hornet, but this has the NACES seat on it. So I'm going to play around with some older decals, see what we come up with. Let's do it.